Dude, way to go.
Thank you.
Well done.
Boy, you guys sure have a low bar for achievement. I'm fine with it.
Shit.
Anyway, sometimes it takes like 2 or 3 attempts,
Okay.
you know, like.
All right, we don't need to embarrass myself here. Hey, welcome to episode 130 of Front Seat Gamer. I'm Nick. I'm here with Saveun
Yo.
and Blake.
Hey, Nick.
How's it going, guys?
Pretty good?
Yeah, it's going well.
Good. You guys been playing anything?
Like, what do you got?
Oh, man. So, I've just been playing games that we've talked about already at length. I've been playing Stellaris, which we've talked to death. We even had a Stellaris special a few years ago just to talk about Stellaris.
It's changed a lot since then, though.
It has. But, like, the changes are so, like, I guess technical that I think it's just boring to talk about. And I've sort of already talked about it anyway. Like, you played a little bit.
I played a little bit, and I do want to talk about it a little bit.
You do? Okay. So you saw the new, like, planet management system, right? Which is, like, way more complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now there's, like, resources that like...
There's a bunch of resources that did not exist before that you have to manage.
You can also create resources. So you can basically have planets that have like resource chains that create a certain type of resource that then other buildings use that resource. And so a lot of the game is balancing your like
production line on planet.
Yeah. And like making sure that like when I remember a while back when I first played the new expansion with those changes, I saw that, oh sweet, I've got a bunch of like building upgrades on my planet. So I just went upgraded them all, and then like just completely tanked my economy because they all needed like twice the resources that I actually had, and I had like because they're all like these specialty resources that you have to either produce or like are quite rare to find in the galaxy.
Yeah.
And I was just like in the red hardcore for like ages.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
I started playing it, and it's been a really long time since I played it.
Yeah.
And I didn't get very far. I'll probably play some more.
You had some complaints.
Oh yeah, it's virtually unintelligible if you're
new,
if you're brand new.
Yeah,
like the tutorial is real rough.
I haven't done the tutorial
exactly. I mean, it's there.
Yeah,
it's just like okay. So here's the opening like 10 minutes of the game. You start off with in your solar system. It used to be that you have to explore the planets in that area.
Yeah.
But now you don't have to.
Yeah. Which is good to me. I think that's a good thing.
It's good for starting the game quickly. But if for teaching, now you have to get to a different screen to do one of the most basic aspects of gameplay, especially early gameplay.
What would you suggest? They have like just a few planets that are not
like
explored?
on the outer rim of the solar system or whatever would be fine, right? Or just one.
Yeah.
You have to learn that there are things that are already pre-built in your solar system that don't do anything.
Yeah.
And that there is a thing, the thing that's not at the star, which is the center of the solar system, which is the thing you're inclined to click on, is not the thing you want to be interacting with. You want to go to your planet, which is much smaller, and find the thing that's floating by the planet to start building things to actually start making progress.
Well, dude, here's what you're doing wrong. You got to use that sidebar that just has.
Yeah,
don't use the map.
The thing that disappears anytime you click on a unit.
No, you can you can pop that out. I just have that out all the time. So I just have a list of all the planets I've got.
Yeah.
You want to be looking at the list, not the actual game.
Yeah, it's and now there's like, so you've got your raw materials, and they all get turned into things like alloy, which I don't think was around back when I played.
No, that wasn't.
So it used to be that you get like minerals, and minerals build ships.
Yeah, it was just minerals and energy and food before, and everything was using minerals.
Now you have to get minerals that turns into alloy at your planet that turns into the resource that you need to build stuff.
Yeah.
Which seems like an additional step for a reason I don't yet understand. There's probably a good like balance reason.
Yeah. Well, the minerals are basically the base resource that gets turned into these other resources.
Yeah.
So they get turned into alloys through buildings on your planet, but then they get turned into like crystal things and like other stuff that is then used for like other things.
So let's talk about what the new player experience there is. One of the first things you have to do is like build a ship of some sort, right? You
Yeah.
either build some damage dealing ships or a science ship
Yeah.
or like a construction ship, whatever. You need to build stuff.
Yeah.
Or you need to go to like a star and build a thing to capture the area.
Yeah.
Which is a whole other step, which I find kind of frustrating. But
Yeah.
So there's just stuff you need to build.
Yep.
The resource you need to build stuff is alloy.
Yep.
And it's not on the map.
No.
No.
It's on your planet.
It's on your planet.
Yeah.
And to find out what you need to make alloy, you have to go to your planet and find the pre-built building that makes it out of the like 8 that you've already got there.
Mm-hmm.
And then figure out, okay, I need minerals to turn into alloy.
Yep.
So the new player experience there is like, I don't know I don't have alloy. Where do I get alloy? Like, there's no planets that give alloy.
Yeah.
Finally, I find my planet. Oh, there's a bunch of... The planet UI is, by the way, a huge mess.
Yeah.
It's just, oh man, that game at this point is, if you have not played older versions of it, you enter, and everything you need to know is behind 3 layers of other stuff.
I love it. It's so good.
It's definitely not good. It's don't get me wrong, the game itself is good.
Yeah.
But the new player experience is abysmal.
Yeah.
And you need it's almost like you need someone to
take
you through your first game.
I feel you need a second screen for that game.
A second screen isn't going to even help. What is the second? Oh, isn't like a guide that says exactly how to play the game?
No, so you can put other like things on there. Like you might want your like.
So you're just
tech
saying you
tree
want
over
more.
there.
You want more UI.
Yes,
but that's not going to solve the problem of
UI.
I don't know where any of this information is, and I don't know what any of this stuff does.
Yeah,
it's.
I don't like. My main problem with this is this is the smallest thing, is that so all those like new specialty resources, right? Like the crystals that you make and stuff, that is not displayed on the top along with the other resources. So at the top you've got energy, minerals, food, and alloy.
Yeah.
Those are your main resources. But then the secondary resources, they're on that bar, but they're all grouped together. So you hover your mouse over a point, and a drop down comes down, and you cannot keep that drop down there.
Okay.
So I have to download a mod that has those all displayed. Like that to me is so annoying because
that's the biggest problem for you.
That's the biggest problem for me because you get to a point where you're like, oh, I want to upgrade this thing, and it's like, okay, it's going to take an extra like crystal to keep to keep it going.
Yeah.
Where are my crystals at? And I'll look up there.
Where are my crystals at?
Where are my crystals at? Look up there, drop down, see how much I've got,
Yep.
see what like my income for them are. I was like, okay, I've got +3. It's like I've got 3 coming in every day. Cool, I can upgrade. Boom. And it's like if I could just glance up and look at how much my resources are instead of like hunting around. And the drop down looks very similar to another like icon that's next to it that shows your unity.
Yep.
And that's for your like your what is it like your passive
the culture
tree,
stuff.
the culture stuff. So I'm constantly hovering over like several of these before I remember which one is which.
So much of the core usability of that game is buried in UI.
Yeah.
So another example, you have to basic mechanic is exploring the universe, sending science vessels to stars to scan stuff.
Yep.
To do that, first of all, your science vessel has to have a leader.
Yep.
Which means you have to go and find and recruit a leader.
Yep.
Fine, I'll accept that. It starts exploring things. Sometimes it'll come across an anomaly. If you don't immediately explore it, it's probably moved on.
Yeah.
And you have to like go back and explore it at some point. Sometimes it starts like a secret research project or something, which is buried in a different UI.
Yeah.
You have to, if you encounter an alien race, you have to start a special project.
Yeah.
Which uses the same resources, the culture.
Well, as research.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. It uses
Oh, right.
it'll
yeah,
use
yeah. You're right.
because
You're right.
there's three research.
Oh yeah, the research stuff. By the way, another UI. It's
Yeah.
all. It's so.
Yeah.
And there is a logic to some of it, but there's also like it's just. The problem to me is it's all there from the start of the game.
Right.
Whereas if you look at a game like Civilization,
Mm-hmm.
where you're starting off very basic. You've
Yeah.
got a town, you've got a combat unit, you've got maybe a scout or whatever. It's just like very basic.
Mm-hmm.
All your town is really doing at that point is building one thing
Yeah.
and gathering resources. And your unit is just exploring and fighting.
Mm.
And your whole thing is just, at that point, early on the game, explore.
Yeah.
And then at some point, it's more about expansion.
Yeah.
And then at some point, it's more about specialization. But there's a slow and sort of organic
Yeah.
build of complexity.
Yeah.
Whereas this is like, here's literally 50 things to care about.
Yep.
Go.
Well, it starts off like, okay, Civ, right? You start off. What do you want to research?
Yeah.
And you have like maybe 2 research options in Civ, or whatever.
Yeah,
in this, it's like you have 3 tracks of resource of research
each
that
which has
happens at
3
the same
things.
time.
Sometimes they have rarities.
Yep.
It's like-
I know. And like, so if you start off, you're presented with 3 tracks to research, all which have 3 options, and you're just like, I don't know any of this. What is any of this?
Yeah. And then there's issues of like, so let's say you colonize a planet.
Yeah.
There's a really long amount of time that has to pass before you can do anything with that.
Yeah,
colony.
yeah. Well,
So even that is just like, it's a lack of I guess like immediacy.
yeah.
Even when you've done something right,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
which just again, it's fine from a balance standpoint, but
Yeah.
from like a player experience, first time standpoint, it's like, what have I done wrong?
Well, you can also, so here's a thing you can do for colonizing planets, because you colonize a planet. There's a bar that fills up while you're waiting for it to actually a settlement to build.
Yeah.
But then once a settlement is built, you have to wait for the population
Yeah,
before you can actually
yeah.
start, because unlocking building slots depends on the population.
Yes.
So at 5 population, you can then add
start
your
building
first building.
stuff.
But what you can do, there's a resettle button on that planetary menu.
Uh-huh.
So that you press that button, and that opens up another menu that has a list of all your planets.
Oh no.
And this planet, and you can like shift population over
Okay.
to the other planet. It costs like I think energy to do.
Okay.
But yeah, so you can like you can like kind of like force people to move to this planet. But however,
Yeah.
you need to have that I think it's like, is it a civic or something unlocked
Uh-huh.
for your empire? Because you have a set of like laws. There's a
Oh
like,
yeah.
right,
The
and one of
edicts and
them
stuff? Oh,
like by
far
default
out.
my default my empire has like forced migration off.
Yeah.
So it's illegal, so I can't do it. So you got to go in there, make sure that's on before you can then like force your force migration on your population.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's all sorts of like living standard stuff in there, is like, so like your populations will be happier at a higher living standard, but it'll cost you more, and there's like, that's a whole other
consumer
menu.
goods and all this. There's okay.
Yeah,
So,
there's a whole other thing. There's also, I mean, there's like trade. Have you noticed that?
Oh, I've
Like, I
noticed that
mean, not just not just like trading between empires. I mean, within your border,
there's so like a trade resource.
there's a trade
right?
resource.
I did see that. So I'm gonna play more because I want to. I remember having fun. I'm not there yet. I would say I hope they make a sequel at some point.
Yeah.
And I hope that when they make a sequel, they very carefully look at the early game experience and look at what they can do to make it more intelligible.
Yeah.
A little more. I think it's fine to narrow the scope early. I think it's fine to only have 2 research choices and and to have something that is functionally busy work at the start of the game. Like sending a research vessel out into your own solar system is, I think, a totally fine thing to have as a teaching tool, especially early on while you're doing your basic setup stuff. It's not going to really cost you that much extra time.
Remember before, like, I don't think, like you were saying, like your solar system wasn't explored by by the science ship, but also there was no other buildings other than your, like no other like buildings around the planets,
right?
Because you can go to a planet and then build like a mining station there. None of those were built within your own solar system, so you had to then like build them yourself.
Yeah,
but now like. Basically, the first thing you do is like send a science ship over to the nearest like thing,
it's
explore it, and then build a star base there, and then start building stuff there. Yeah,
it's kind of flipped it on its head, and it's probably great for experienced players because it speeds up that early game.
Yeah. But you there is a point, like I'm a pretty experienced player at that, but there is a time at the start where you're kind of just waiting for that first system to be fully explored, so you can start building stuff.
That's
true. I usually
doesn't actually stop the waiting.
I usually just make another science vessel and like send that out in the opposite direction, and I'm just sort of like it does just push the waiting to be able to build over to the next star system instead of your own. Yeah.
I mean, you have to survey the whole system before you can start building anything. Which is
you have to survey the whole system before you can build the star base.
Yeah.
When the star base is there, then you can start building those things.
Yeah. Again, 2 layers of obfuscation before you can do anything.
Do you remember before you didn't need to build the star bases, and there was a different type of
there was like some sort of like basically a beacon or something that like claimed it as your territory without it.
Yeah, and like there were different FTL modes.
Yeah,
because now it's like it's all hyperlane, so all the stars.
Oh, is it just hyperlane? Because I noticed I was hyperlane.
It's all just hyperlane. So you used to be able to have like because this was like
too hard to balance.
This was like a whole balance thing, because like they were finding that like so you could build those star bases that were like big fortresses in space.
Yeah, I remember.
A lot of the FTL systems could just like go around it. There was there was no choke points, unless you were playing hyperspace. That was the only, because you could only travel through these pathways between these lanes. So you'd have choke points there. But if you're playing one of the other ones, like I always used to play warp gate, so I would build a warp gate somewhere, and then it just gives you like this
big area,
area that you can just travel to. And so like if somebody's got like a star base somewhere, being like, I'm protecting my borders, I'm just like jump straight over their borders. Like it doesn't mean anything. So they ended up restricting everyone to hyperspace so that you could actually have choke points and stuff leading into which is cool. I quite like that. But they've also like the warp gate technology.
Yeah,
they do have that just randomly around. That's a discoverable technology now. You'll find ancient warp gates, and there's this whole
activate them.
You can activate them, and there's this whole sort of research discovery kind of quest where you unlock this technology.
I still think the story and lore stuff of that game is fantastic and really well done. But
every time I play, I'm still finding things story stuff that I hadn't seen before.
Yeah. But man,
yeah,
it's so complicated.
Yeah,
to start now.
Yeah, I think.
Saveun, you want to play?
Not at all.
I think the perfect tutorial has been playing it since it came out and seeing each small upgrade, small addition as they go.
Yeah,
there's also you probably didn't get to this, but there's the Federation.
No,
stuff now, which has been completely revamped and is different. There's Federation XP and
I mean, I remember even when we were playing in the office, how diplomacy was ridiculous, and there's what are the war goals or whatever they're called?
Yeah, the war goals. Yeah,
and how that's a huge part of combat. And it's all hidden.
I never understood the war goals.
Is it still around?
Yeah. They're you can I can't remember if you could do this before. I don't think you could, but you can now make claims on systems. So you can spend influence points to claim enemy systems, right?
Yeah.
Just at peace. You can be like, we claim some ownership over that. We have a
Yeah.
like this is a thing I've seen in what's it called? What's their other game, like Europa?
Okay.
Yeah. I've seen that sort of thing where it's like I can stake a claim on this neighboring territory.
Yep.
So you can do that, and then when you go to war, those are sort of like automatically part of your war goals.
Yep.
Yeah, but like
It's man.
But that stuff is like so, like that stuff is hidden. I think that whole like staking claims on stuff, because you see like you'll open up the diplomacy thing of somebody else and you'll see that they've got claims on you, but it
Yeah.
doesn't say what systems they're claiming. It just says that they have claims on you, and you're like, what the heck? And it's pretty much always like border systems,
Yeah.
right?
I don't know.
So then I'm like,
why you're saying right? Like I should know.
well, no, it is. It's
Okay, yeah.
always like border systems. Like as soon as your borders touch, they seem to like make a claim on that like system right there, like neighboring. And it's like, well, then do you need like a demilitarized zone around? Like how do you like make it so that they don't claim it? Because okay, so you purposely don't claim a system like to keep the borders from touching, but the AI will just claim it anyway.
Yeah.
Like there's no sort
I
of
don't know.
like, hey, this is a demilitarized zone here. Like don't claim anything there, but they don't.
I don't know.
And even if you're allied with them, they can still be like, we feel we have some ownership over these like systems, and you're just like,
It's got some flaws.
yeah.
Anyway, you've been playing something else as well, right?
Oh man, so I was playing. This is yet another game that we've talked to death.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, right. Okay.
I was playing a little bit of Zelda,
Yes.
just a little bit, just like maybe I don't know, a couple hours. Not. I didn't really get much done because most of the time I just spent dying.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Because when you haven't played for a while,
yeah,
it's quite hard, isn't it?
yeah. I was like, there was a lot of muscle memory going on though,
Yeah.
but still like, yeah, I was just dying constantly.
Having good time?
Yeah,
Or-
it was still great. I was like trying to figure out where the heck I was.
Yeah.
Like I sort of remember the region, but then I was like, what the heck? What was I actually doing?
Yeah, it's a quest log.
Oh yeah, I'm not following that. What, kill Ganon? Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
I got it.
that's what
Yeah,
you're up to. You got to kill
yeah.
again.
But yeah, I'm getting close to the big bird.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's a great one.
That one's like almost right above me now.
Look out for Grover.
Yep. And
It's,
Snuffleupagus.
It's a
I get it. It's
There
a
you go.
Sesame Street
Yeah.
joke. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. How old are you?
not old enough.
Nice. Yeah, I don't know what else what there really is to talk about. It's just like I played it for a while and then like died a whole bunch of times.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's the full experience.
Yeah.
When do you get the motorbike?
That's from the
I don't think I
DLC.
have the DLC.
Oh,
Yeah, I
okay.
didn't get the DLC.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
But if you have the DLC,
You
Just got
so no, you have to do all 4 divine beasts,
Mm.
which unlocks 12 additional mini dungeons, and then you do those 12 additional mini dungeons,
Mm.
and then it unlocks one big extra dungeon.
Yeah.
Maybe it unlocks a couple other mini dungeons as well, and there's a few other sub challenges you have to do before that as well, and then
it really make you work for it, right?
yeah, it's
It's a motorbike, you know.
For that
You gotta-
DLC
but
that
then
you
at the
have.
end, at the end of that big 5th like secret divine beast, basically there's a big boss fight and you get
A motorbike.
motorbike at the
He
end.
gifts you a
Wow.
motorbike.
Yeah, they call it the like Sheikah masterpiece or something.
But it's a motorbike.
Yeah, it's a
Can
motorbike.
you crash it?
You can like run into stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Can you? Because you can whistle for your horse. Can you whistle for your bike?
No, it's one of the Sheikah slate powers. So you just call it out. and it
Oh.
materializes.
Oh,
Damn.
interesting.
Is that your main mode of transport?
I mean, I haven't played much in
Yeah.
a while,
But was it?
but for a while, yeah.
Yeah.
You have to. It requires fuel.
Really?
Yeah.
What is that?
Carrots. You feed it carrots.
Yeah, you do.
Oh.
You actually do. You can feed it.
What?
You feed it like whatever objects, like food. And,
What, has it
and-
got a Mr. Fusion or something?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, it opens up a
Great.
little thing, and you just put objects in there,
What?
and a little fuel bar fills up.
Mm.
It's great.
Wow, cool.
And it's it's a bit silly,
Yeah,
really, but
A bit?
it's actually really fun,
yeah.
and you can do a lot of cool stuff with it. So
That's cool. I've got Ganon's horse.
nice, that's huge.
Yeah. He's great.
Yeah.
He doesn't gallop though, but like I think the size of him, his stride is like the same as like a
Galloping horse.
gallop. Yeah.
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 Yeah, it is a very big horse.
He's cool, man. I remember like I saw him in the distance because he was hanging out with a
He's
bunch of
so
other
big.
horses, and I was
So
like,
much bigger.
oh yeah, there's a horse there, oh yeah, and then I see other horses next to him, and I was like, wait a minute, that looks like
look at all those tiny horses.
Yeah, I was
I want
like-
a tiny horse.
yeah, I was just like, what? And I was just like, am I seeing things like are these like is there like a perspective thing going on here, and like this horse is closer and these ones are further away? I'm like, no, that's just a big ass horse.
There's a few special horses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know there's the one up on the mountain.
Yep. The
Yeah.
one with the multiple faces.
Which I didn't like. I spent ages like because I seen the it shows a glow on the mountain when it's there.
Yeah.
I didn't know this at the time, and I'd see the glow, and I was like, I'm gonna go up there and see what
Yeah.
it is. Go up there, and there's like nothing there, and then I'm waiting for night, and there's like no glow. I'm like, what the heck? I go back down, I'm walking around again, and then I see the glow again. I'm like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
Turns out it's some kind of mount thing that
Yeah.
you can like some sort of
It's got like weird face thing going.
yeah.
It's called like the spirit of the mountain or something like that.
Do you have to have like a really high sneak to be able to get it?
I mean, it's not a skill in the game.
Do you have to really level up your sneak?
I mean, you using like stealth gear or whatever.
Yeah, you have stealth gear and
yeah.
potions.
It helps, I suppose. I don't think you need it though.
Yeah,
Because
because I needed that. I needed
I
that
feel
for
like
the
I
Ganon
jumped
horse.
down from above and landed on top
Oh,
of it.
so you just surprised it. Yeah,
Yeah.
because with the Ganon horse, I had to like really. I like put on my sneak clothes and then like
You probably also needed a bunch of endurance, right?
yeah, I had to take a stamina
food?
potion in
Yeah.
the middle of like trying to like tame it.
Yep.
Yeah,
There's also a skeleton horse.
I've ridden a skeleton horse, but they disappear
Only until
during the
dawn.
Yeah, yeah. And I tried to I tried to bank it in the
they won't
stable,
take it.
and they're like, get that monster out
Yeah.
of here.
And then I think there's like Princess Zelda's horses somewhere as well.
You can ride. There's like deer.
Yeah, you can ride deer. You can ride bears.
Yeah, bears is crazy.
Yeah, you can
I
ride.
don't think I've even seen a bear in the
they're-
game.
They're out there.
Yeah,
You can ride. I think there's rhinos you can ride.
What?
Potentially.
That's crazy.
There's you can.
A walrus? The sand walrus?
Yeah, you can.
Oh,
You can.
walrus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That'll be the slowest like mount.
Nah,
It's
not
not-
on the sand, bro.
Oh, it's a sand walrus.
Have you not been to the Gerudo area?
No,
Oh,
I'm
my
not sure if
goodness.
Is that where the camel is? I'd
Yeah.
seen the camel from a distance.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, I'm gonna head over there, and then I ended up near the bird.
I think that's on the opposite
Yes,
side
it's
of
in the
map.
absolute opposite direction. But you know what? You know how Zelda is. You're just like,
You get
I'm
sidetracked.
gonna head over there, and then you get sidetracked 50 times, and then you
There's
end up
a
in
bunch of
the-
stuff to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's what I like about that game, or like almost all open world games, is that you just like you just wander,
Yeah.
and then you've done like 50 things, and you're like, what did I start out to do?
Oh yeah. Now where's that cam? Uh-oh.
Yeah. Where was that thing I was gonna go to? Oh, I'm on the opposite side of the map. I've been thinking now that like Assassin's Creed
Valhalla.
Valhalla is out. I'm actually kind of keen to get Odyssey.
Oh, okay.
Not Valhalla, dude. Those games are so expensive.
Are they?
Yeah,
Yeah, like $120.
$120, and like
Huh.
that-
on what? On PC?
yeah,
Huh.
and like PlayStation or whatever as
Mhm.
well. But like I've been keeping my eye on the Assassin's Creed Odyssey for ages, and like I see it on Steam, and it'll like go down on special, and it's still like $90 or something.
What's the appeal? Why
It's
that
an
game?
open world, man.
It's an open
It's
world?
an open world
With monsters in it?
Yeah, with some monsters.
Okay.
Don't,
So-
but Blake, I think there's goals in it.
There's what?
I think there's goals.
Not
I think,
not the way I play.
Oh, okay. Good.
Not how I play. Well, you know what's funny in Stellaris? You can actually, so you do have the goals,
Oh dear.
and
Here
it
we
can be
go.
like
You got a mod that dismisses all
no,
goals.
no, they just have a thing where it's like it's in the actual settings where you can be like, at the end of the game, should it end or can you just keep playing?
Mm.
So I'm just like, keep playing, no end. So the,
Oh, no
the
way.
goals are there. So it'll be like, congratulations, you've won, you've dominated the galaxy or whatever, or you've you've
Yeah.
done whatever.
And you're like, I'm gonna just keep
Just keep going.
this static universe.
Just keep
Now that
going.
this galaxy is mine, I'm just
Yeah.
gonna watch it for 1,000 years.
Just keep going, see what happens.
Not much.
Yeah. Jumping back to Stellaris though. that so I was playing as a vassal.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Last week you were all about it.
Well, that was when I was like super weak and like this
Yeah,
overlord
and now
is like
you're not
protecting
super
me.
weak, but you're still weak
Well,
by
now-
comparison.
Yeah, I'm basic. I think I am still the weakest in the galaxy, but like I need to expand, and you can't expand when you're a vassal, and I can't go to war with this overlord because he's just he is the most powerful in the galaxy. So I'm just been building like habitats and like trying to like build up like that, but it's like it's
You
not,
can't keep pace.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's not really working out. And also, like, nothing's happening. Like, that's also
Yeah.
the thing. Is like I'm supposed to be at like mid game, so there's supposed to be some kind of mid game crisis.
Yeah.
Nothing has happened.
Interesting.
There's been hints of like AI popping up,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm like, this is like nothing's happening here. And I want to like, there's people I want to attack, but like I can't because like I'm a vassal.
Well, what if can you leave your vassal?
I've
ship?
tried to negotiate for leaving,
Yeah.
but I don't have enough like I don't have enough sway. They're just like I
Hey, can I leave? No. Okay, cool.
he says you will not survive by yourself.
He's probably right. you know.
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. But like,
you make a good point.
yeah,
I guess I'll stay.
yeah. I mean, it's
You're in an abusive relationship.
yeah,
Lee.
it's kind of interesting from a point of view that like I'm a vassal and I'm in this like federation with the boss and this other like powerful empire, and there's like another federation there as well, but it's like pretty much peaceful. Like the big fight happened like in the start where me and my my boss both attacked this incredibly like hostile empire, and we just like wasted them and then took all their territory, and then since then it's just been
You've just been chilling.
yeah, just been chilling. I've just been building up my stuff, so it's like I think I'm gonna start again.
I think you should go to war with your master and see what happens.
Maybe I will.
If you're gonna start again, why
I'm gonna
not?
start again, yeah, and just be like, just watch this guy come in with like 50k fleets when like my strongest is like probably 20.
Yeah,
No,
see what happens.
Just wreck me. Oh yeah, I can give it a go.
Saveun, have you been playing much?
A little bit.
What have you been playing?
I picked up an early access game
Uh-oh.
called Teardown.
Okay.
Do you guys know about this game?
No.
How come you're not giving him shit about early access games?
I said uh-oh.
It's like a voxel based game. This whole thing is all about like destruction, breaking things. You're basically a criminal, like a hired criminal.
Cool.
And so
The only kind of game you like?
it's kind of great. It's great because you can knock walls down.
Oh, shit.
With like anything down actually. So yeah, you have like a.
Can you knock a person down?
I haven't come across another person yet.
Okay.
I don't think there are other people. There are like on TV and stuff. Like there's this little world. There.
Yeah.
And so you can see missions that are assigned to you, and you play them, and then the next day you'll actually see a news report about the crime that you committed. I destroyed like the
I
first
like
one.
That. That's cool.
So the first one was like, hey, look, I'm a property developer. There's a building in the way.
Yeah.
Are you down? And you're like, yeah, sure. And so you rock over to this place, and it's just you look at this building, and it says it's 6 meters too high.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then it's still kind of like tutorial kind of stuff too. So you walk over there, and it's like these bottles explode if you throw them, and you're like, cool. and then there are like construction like what are they, like vehicles just around the place?
Oh yeah.
So like diggers and stuff like that.
Yeah. Wrecking balls.
Dude, oh, not wreck-it balls, but like just diggers and big dump trucks and stuff like this. Anyway, you can pilot them and just like smash it through the building and just watch like how the materials deform and stuff.
Oh
like,
wow.
It is correct in that like you can knock out walls and then the weight of it will actually carry itself.
Oh, so there's like
back down.
load bearing like
that
things.
kind of stuff.
That's cool.
It's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Who developed it?
It's a studio called Tuxedo Games or
Wow.
Labs or something. It's cool if you've been following the development of these guys, which I had been for a little bit. It looks really good. It's all voxels, but still really cool.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm having a blast with that. I've only played like 2 missions,
Yeah,
like spent 15 minutes in it.
dude, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
People,
Is that because it's early access? Is that why it sounds cool, Blake?
yeah, that's the main thing.
Yeah.
You had me at early access.
Yeah.
I've already probably bought it.
I like it.
Nice.
Mm.
What made you follow these guys in the first place?
It's a little different. I can't think of a game that does destruction like this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where did you hear about it?
There were videos going around just between me and a few workmates.
Just all the physics and stuff.
Yeah, like the guy has like a Twitter page and he's just like posting gifs of like what you could do. So yeah, like during development, it was things like you have a certain amount of time in order to collect things and then get away in this vehicle,
Yep.
right? But it's you're in a warehouse kind of area, and there are just pipes on the ground. Well, not on the ground, but just between buildings, and you'd have to destroy them in order to like make the quickest route and quickly get back to the escape vehicle.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool. Like, there's a lot of openness to it as well.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I just hadn't seen anything like it.
Yeah, I'm just looking at some pictures of it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
If you like check out, yeah, I guess just like image, like Google internet search.
Yeah.
I've heard of that.
Yeah. Do a
Yep.
bit of that.
Give it a
and
Google.
check it out.
Yeah,
It's called Teardown.
It's definitely like right up my alley.
that's cool. Is it multiplayer?
I don't think so. But you can destroy anything. It's got
Yeah.
it's kind of cool just to see
That's
like
cool.
things destroy.
It's-
And wood will splinter.
Oh wow.
Metal will bend. Like
Oh wow.
it's all that kind of stuff.
Have you seen?
That is impressive then.
Yeah.
Have you seen Woodwork Simulator?
No.
It's
Tell me about it.
It's just you're making things out of wood.
And
I
you can nail
think
things
I'm pretty
together?
sure it's VR.
Okay.
And like you can cut wood to shapes and
Is it
and
voxels?
sand things and plane things.
Is it polygons?
I have no idea what the tech behind it is. It's quite interesting.
Well,
actually.
how does like if you if you do a cut of the wood,
Yeah.
does it actually like peel off like kind of wood?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have a look at it.
It's not just a bunch of cubes that just like.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't know how
Pretty
they're
Yeah.
doing it.
Hmm.
I assume like they're just deforming and subdividing the mesh
Yeah.
or something, and then
That's cool.
creating a new one for
This
the
kind
curl.
of thing, like I remember. Do you ever hear or play Red Fraction?
Oh yeah,
Gorilla. Red-
Gorilla back in the day.
Yeah, yeah,
No, but I heard about it.
yeah. That
Their
was
whole thing was destructible environment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a game like I there was a time I think I was a student, so I didn't really buy many games back then. But I always looked at that game being like, this would be incredible because like it's just a dude with a sledgehammer,
Yeah.
like smashing down buildings.
Yeah. There are games that do it now. I think like Rainbow Six is like a
Yeah,
thing that
yeah.
does that a whole bunch.
Like that stuff. I think people have always kind of been chasing the destructibility,
Yeah, of course.
like believable destructibility. And like the fact that it's like there's load bearing like walls and stuff. That's huge, man. Because like the amount of these kind of like games I play, right, where you're like these survival games where you're building stuff and like walls are getting knocked down, like
Yeah, and the stories are just staying.
yeah,
up.
yeah. It's just like you build something and it's just like a wall and then a giant overhanging like
Yep.
thing, and it's like it's completely fine. And then if you knock out that one wall, then it's like the whole thing just disappears, kind of thing. It doesn't like properly
and
like
stuff.
fall down how it would in reality.
Yeah, this is really impressive in that way. Like I drove a truck into this building.
Yeah.
And it had like a little digging arm in the front of it.
Oh,
and just
yeah.
like turning that around into the windows and stuff
Oh,
like
that's
that.
so cool.
Does the equipment also respond realistically?
Yeah.
Isn't like
Yeah.
if you're striking something with your digging arm, does the digging arm deform and get damaged?
It doesn't deform. Well, if it's metal, maybe. But yeah, it was a brick house, so I was just like
Right.
wrecking that.
Yeah, I suppose like it would be tough to see how much you can damage the actual vehicles.
There is like a health bar on a vehicle.
Ah, yeah.
The vehicles are like hit or miss. Like
Yeah.
I don't really care about it too much. But to have like a metal girder like bend
Yeah.
and like have it looks heavy. Like you can walk on it. It'll
Yeah.
actually bend correctly. That
Wow.
kind of thing. Yeah, it's really nice.
That's cool. All right, I want to have a look at this after the podcast.
Mm.
You know, I've been playing something.
Mm-mm.
I bought a game.
Yeah.
I bought Hades because
Oh, right.
4 million people told me I should
Yep.
buy and play Hades.
I've heard a lot of good stuff about Hades.
Yeah, it's really good.
How many hours have you put into it?
I was sick this week, so a lot.
Yeah, okay.
I've done I think 40 something runs, only one of which has been successful. It's a hard game. I'm not very good at it, but and people mostly have been telling me to get it because of the dialogue system in there. There's a huge amount of dialogue. Someone said something around the lines of 20,000 lines of dialogue, which is enormous. And I was curious to see how they handled that from just I mean, obviously that's just a ton of dialogue to write and record. But also from like a logistical standpoint, how that is implemented. How do you unlock? How do you unlock it? How does it progress? That sort of thing. And there's some really cool stuff, but there's also some flaws, I think. And it's something that I think a lot of games are guilty of, which is linearly progressing dialogue regardless of character progression. And by that I mean, so you're in Hades, you're doing a run from the underworld to the surface. That's the whole concept. And there's 4 layers, and each one has like a boss, and there's a bunch of stuff to do in there. And all the characters will respond to the stuff you've done throughout that run or in previous runs, but they will seem to disregard progress past the point that they are ready to talk about. So if I get to the 3rd layer and they haven't talked about the 2nd layer, they're not going to talk about the 3rd layer. They're going to talk about the 2nd layer, which is a bit, it's a bit uncohesive. Or do you know what I mean? Like, why are these characters talking about me getting to the 3rd layer or the 2nd layer? I've made it past there.
Why wouldn't they have talked about the 2nd layer when you went through the 2nd layer?
Because I may have not run into them.
Oh, I see.
Like there's a lot of randomness
Yeah.
into who you run into, and there's also a lot of things that they can talk about instead.
Yeah.
They can talk about interaction with other characters.
Yeah.
They can talk about the state of your health.
Mm.
And it's cool that there's all this stuff in there. Like I love, and there's lots of things that I would not expect there to be dialogue for that there is. Things like going into a room while a character who's not normally around is around. That character might say something. But I'd say my biggest issue is that there is this I guess linear track for a lot of these dialogues that don't acknowledge progress past that track.
So do you think that they're just hoping that things like that line up?
There's probably some of that, but mostly I suspect it's an implementation thing of like, how do you, as a data set, there's a huge amount of dialogue to put in there, and making sure that you're not repeating the dialogue, and that the player is getting things in the right order. The best way to probably display all of that dialogue is just they are numbered 1 through to however whatever along this dialogue track, and you just play them in order and you don't go back. Yeah, and so that would preclude skipping. Yeah, because you don't want to save sudden jumps or whatever. If it's like, we know that there's certain quest flags, you know that you unlock a quest flag when you get to the 2nd layer. We know you unlock a quest flag when you get to the 3rd layer. Yeah. But we just want to play them in order. Right. And if it's valid, you just play the next one. Yeah.
But it just seems weird then that, like, so you go from, like, wouldn't there be a thing that's just like, if on 3rd layer play this, like talk about the 3rd layer when they're on the 3rd layer, right? Not just like,
well, it's often it's more like you made it to the 3rd layer in the last run, and then on the next run you run into a god, and the god's like, oh, I heard last time you made it to blah blah blah.
Oh, okay.
Great job.
Yeah.
But what they might say is, I heard you made it to the 2nd layer. Yeah. Instead of the 3rd layer.
But then, I mean, that just to me sounds like they got their information wrong. That just sounds like that's just
you think
saying
it's a
I
reliable
heard a
narrator?
rumor that this happened, and you're like, well, that's not 100% true. Like that.
Yeah, they're not technically wrong. I did make it to the second layer.
Yeah.
And they in the narrative they talk about the gods not having like a clear picture of what's actually going on.
Yeah.
And they do frame a lot of these things as I heard you did this.
Yeah.
There was a rumor, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But it still comes that to me is
you're annoyed that they're not up to date on your like what's
well,
going
no,
on.
it's mostly from having written dialogue,
Yeah.
and having input. Like I can see how this data set was likely input, and that the inclination was probably we don't want to have players miss dialogue.
Yeah. Okay.
But as a result, you get a mismatch between dialogue and actual scenario.
Is there any other examples where this is more obvious?
Oh, you'll get. I mean, it's stuff like you'll. It's like you do a milestone, and because there is multiple possible things that a character can be talking about at that point, they'll for whatever reason they'll talk about the minor thing, and they'll only talk about one thing per visit.
Right.
So the next time you come back, and it'll talk about the milestone that you did.
Yeah.
A run or 2 or 3 before instead.
Okay.
And so this just I'm not sure how this is being selected. I suspect there's a priority system or possibly some randomness, and I don't know that the priority system is 100% how
Yeah.
I would set it up.
Yeah. Is it that glaring, or is it just like that's the thing these people want to talk about?
It's
Is
glaring
that
to
just
me,
that,
but
like-
only because I know what I'm looking for.
Yeah. You know, like I do get it if like okay, you do a major thing,
Yeah.
and then they're like, oh man, did you see that cat back there?
Yeah.
And then you're like, I just beat this boss. Why the hell are you talking about this cat? But like, maybe they really into like the cat. You know, that's their main like focus.
Well, it'll be sort of like, okay, I do a run and I meet a character that's important to one character, and I do some other stuff that's important to the
Yeah.
broader story, and I do some other thing, and then I talk to this character, and he's like, he'll talk about the character that's important to him.
Yeah.
Then, sure, and then but everyone else is talking about the big story event,
Yeah.
and then I'll do another run,
Yeah.
and then that character will talk about the big story event, and everyone else is talking about something else.
That happens in real life.
Yeah, but they're all in the same
been,
location.
We've all been sitting around talking about something, and someone just
Isn't there?
yeah, it's like 2 steps behind in the conversation.
Eh.
I see this as like this could happen.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like
sure.
in like this seems like sometimes people are just behind in the conversation, or
I think
they're
part
just
of it
wanting
is-
to talk about. They're not interested in whatever is other people are talking about. Like
Well, I think part of it also is because it's out of sync in only just one character. or whatever it
I
is,
get
you
it.
know?
I get it.
So-
I'm just saying I can suspend my disbelief enough.
That's
to
fair.
Be like that's
But I'm looking
fine.
at it from like I've done a bunch of dialogue
Yeah,
writing, and
yeah.
I've had to help set up these sorts of things.
Yeah.
And so
you're seeing the bug. You're like,
it's
this
not
is-
a bug necessarily. It's a decision that is being made about making sure that players don't miss dialogue necessarily.
That's fair, I think, though. That desire to not want people to miss out on like dialogue, because dialogue is a big thing to put in a game.
But the thing is, there's 20,000 lines.
yeah,
I think to me this is and look, I really like the game,
Mm.
and I think they've done broadly a great job.
hmm
But to me, this is a little bit of like designer preciousness,
Oh.
where it's like I want to make
Yeah.
sure that all my hard work gets seen, even
Yeah.
though there's so much of it,
yeah,
and even though as a result, the impact of the immediacy is reduced. What I would be more interested in is, okay, I do a run, I get to the 3rd layer. The
Mm.
next time, everyone's talking about, oh my god, I can't believe you got to the 3rd layer.
Yeah,
Rather
yeah.
than, I heard you got to that 2nd layer because
Yeah,
I haven't
I
seen
know
this
what you
character
mean, yeah.
in 3 things. It's suddenly it feels a bit. It's the system showing,
Mm.
and it's the desire of the writer or game designer or whoever's decision this was, is their intent to make sure that it all gets seen,
Mm.
rather than an intent to make sure that everything in the world lines up,
Mm.
which is I think a flaw.
Yeah. Yeah.
If we did that, in Path of Exile, for example, if you were to do that, you would have, and this does actually sometimes happen, where you can complete a quest before you're given the quest, and so that when you go to the quest giver, he'll offer the quest and then immediately give you the quest complete dialogue. But we've also done cases where if you complete a quest before you're given the quest giver will say, "Oh, I can't believe you did this thing."
Yeah.
You've already done the thing.
That's cool. Yeah.
And I think that's a much more interesting way of doing it. And I would prefer, if you're gonna do a whole bunch of lines of dialogue, 20,000 lines of dialogue, I think it's worth having cases where it's like, have a line for, they get to the third layer before this character acknowledges the second layer. They get to the fourth layer before this character acknowledges the first and second layer, or whatever. You know,
Do they ever talk about stuff that you've not gotten to?
I don't think so.
Are they like, oh man, watch out for the fourth layer?
They'll say stuff like that, but it's usually in context of it. It depends on the context, but yeah, it'll be like you're approaching the fourth layer, and a character will send you a warning or whatever it is.
This is where the game really starts. That's what.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. Because like, okay, it does sound like they've sort of wanted to make sure that every single player hears all the dialogue.
Yeah.
But like just the amount of people playing.
Yeah.
Like all the dialogue will get heard like no matter what. So like if I'm saying like the Path of Exile example you just got, a lot of people might never have known that there's
you can skip a thing.
You can skip a thing and there's like extra dialogue that is like, oh, you already did this.
Yeah.
So like, but like the mass of people playing,
someone
will eventually.
Yes,
see
exactly. I think that's the case. And I think that to me, it's more interesting, especially if you've got this massive players and people are like, oh my god, I got this dialogue because I didn't talk to this god at all, and I completed a full run, and then they were like, I can't. How did you do this without my help or whatever? Like that would be cool. Maybe the stuff does exist, but I haven't seen evidence of it, and I've seen evidence to the contrary.
You're just getting the vibe that they're making sure that you hear everything.
Yeah. The vibe I'm getting is each character has a bunch of different dialogue lit tracks that are linear, and you can't skip ahead of them. They will only go a step at a time, and that means that you can get old steps, which I think not a decision I would have made.
Like I can suspend my disbelief for like one or two people doing that, but when it's like when
it happens
with
some regularity.
Yeah, when it's super regular like that, then it's like, man.
But there's just a ton of dialogue, and there's lots of cool interactions, and people talk about the just amount of dialogue and how surprising it is, and how they go super long without ever getting any sort of repeats.
Yeah.
And that's definitely worth noting.
Because did you ever play Bastion? I think it's called.
I played a little. That was
bit of it. That was praised for its like dialogue as well.
Yeah, same developer.
Oh, really?
You didn't know?
No.
Yeah.
Holy heck. Okay. Wow. Well, I mean that game, you could do things that you could end up not hearing every piece of dialogue in that game because they were depending on your actions.
Yeah.
So if you didn't do something, you didn't hear dialogue about it.
Yeah.
And
the same deal for this.
Yeah.
It's a very similar system, I suspect, except also now there's a whole bunch of characters that will respond to your actions.
Okay. Yeah.
So you do a thing, they'll have a thing that they can say about it.
Yeah.
It's just that might be several areas later or whatever.
Right.
So, but it's a solid game. I've really been enjoying a lot of it. The interesting builds, interesting powers, and interesting game design where it's like you have your weapon and you have a bunch of ways to improve the weapon, and you have a bunch of things that change the effects of the weapon, and a bunch of things that change the effects of the weapon.
Oh god!
And they can all kind of have these permutations.
Yeah.
And there's all these random elements so that every run feels different. And they've also got some really cool stuff so that you are encouraged to try different things. So there's incentives to not try and mimic your best run or whatever, which is quite good. And the way the fact that there's so much dialogue and that the story is given incrementally between each run helps fuel the desire to keep doing more runs, which is great.
Yeah.
I just wish there was a little more immediacy to and responsiveness to your actions and the way the characters respond.
Have you had repeating dialogue?
Not as far as I know. And there's I've had lots and lots of repeated like player character feedback dialogue where it's like you kill something and he'll say something,
Yeah, sure.
But none of the characters, as far as I know, have said anything repeated
That's
yet.
cool.
Yeah.
It's great. I didn't know it was made by the Bastion people.
I reckon you'd like it.
That makes so much more sense why people love this game now. Because I didn't know. I thought it had just come out of nowhere.
It's also just a good action game.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I've seen on their Steam page, they're like their main cover is just full of like awards and acclaimed things.
It's it's been heavily praised, and I think rightfully so. I just because dialogue is a thing that is mentioned a lot.
Yeah.
And it's something I care about and work on. I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things I would have done differently.
Did I can't remember. Did you play how much Life is Strange did you play?
Not much.
Because that's dialogue, the game.
I mean, I've played a lot of like adventure games.
Yeah, okay. I mean, yeah, I suppose like when
dialogue the game.
Yeah, it's dialogue the game. When was the last what was the last like adventure game like that you played that was like the conversations are the game?
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know off the top of my head. Maybe Firewatch.
Oh, okay.
Which was a while ago.
Yeah.
But that was great.
Yeah.
But
their dialogue is pretty interesting.
Yeah. Saveun, you gonna play Hades?
Yeah. On
you are
a friend of mine told me to check it out. So
why?
Because he had a lot of good things to say about it. Yeah. I'll check it out.
What has piqued your interest in it?
What he said about it.
What did he cite?
Fun to play, good dialogue.
Yeah. Yeah, those are the two things. The other thing I think is quite good is the art. It's all pre-rendered.
Cool.
All of the character stuff, and so it's all sprite based.
Yeah.
But
I know.
I just think that's quite. It looked good.
I haven't talked. Have I ever talked about 2D and 3D?
Yes.
Just my opinions on like the two.
I don't know. Have you?
No, I don't know. But I really don't care about 2D.
I've heard your opinions on sprite, like that.
The limitations of sprites,
or like the 16-bit style.
Oh, yes.
Like that kind of thing where it's like a shortcut to nostalgia.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, with like modern games doing that.
Yeah.
Like whatever. It's cool.
Well, I just think it's interesting because of the volume of weapons and skills and all these different combinations of things, all these permutations. The fact that they went with 2D is an interesting choice, and was probably great from a purely performance standpoint.
You think so?
Yeah, because they are able to put it on all these different systems, regardless, because it's all just 2D. And they didn't have to care about like detail levels and whatnot.
Yeah, okay.
Whereas
you're talking about you make it a high resolution, you go lower.
Yeah. And it runs great on the Switch. It runs great on, but do you know what I mean?
There you go.
No, I got it.
That's the core of the.
They could probably put it on mobile and it would probably run great. Right?
Oh, that's perfect. Even more perfect.
Anyway, hey, how about some questions, huh? These are very long questions.
Yeah, we got long questions.
You've been avoiding it for so many weeks.
Yeah, I know. This is your own doing.
Is it though? This is an old one, but I still think it's interesting. PS2. This is from Gene Terra. They said PS2 launch lineup was so bad he picked up a console at midnight, went home with the console and a new DVD because the only game he wanted was delayed.
Oh, what?
Remember when we talked about the PlayStation?
Yeah,
2?
yeah.
Huh?
The lineup, yeah.
Speaking of, didn't the PlayStation 5 get launched?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And the new
This
Xbox.
week? And the new Xbox?
Mm.
Are either of you going to get either of them?
Man, somebody said something to me that made me think about getting it. Was because you know how we've got the 5-game rule?
Yeah.
Mhm.
They have
Bugsnax.
backwards compatibility.
Okay.
So I'm like, maybe those 5 games can just transfer over.
Mm.
And I'll just basically just upgrade my PlayStation and just play the same
Upgrade.
games. I
Wait,
mean,
what
that's-
are those games? The 5 games.
I
The
don't-
PlayStation ones.
I don't remember.
Mm.
I don't think I remember. Bloodborne was one of them.
Last of Us?
Last of Us was definitely one of them. Last of Us, Bloodborne, Red Dead, of course.
Oh, yeah.
You can get a new GTA 5.
I could get a new GTA
Oh,
5.
man.
But like, man, if I'm going PlayStation 5, it's like Demon Souls.
Mm.
Like
You're a fan?
man, I kind of
Demon
really want to play
Souls,
that.
the
Yeah.
original.
Do you know about that? They remade.
Oh,
Yeah.
did they?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, guy.
Yeah, dude, it
It was
looks
like a launch game.
Oh, okay.
yeah, no, Demon Souls from like 10 years
Yeah.
ago.
No,
On the
more
PlayStation
than that.
3.
It was like
Yeah.
12 years ago. Or
Yeah.
something like that.
No, they they re-released it.
Oh, okay.
It looks fantastic.
Cool.
Yeah. Dane from work, he worked on it.
Oh, yeah, actually, I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Looks great.
Oh,
I'll
dear.
be into that. But I'm gonna upgrade my computer soon, so I'm like, I'm not gonna get a.
Mm, what
You
are
just
looking
bought a
at?
new card, didn't you, Saveun?
Yeah.
A 3080?
A 3080, yeah.
Was that that wasn't the $5,000 one?
No,
right?
no,
that
it's
was.
not that one.
It's,
Why
a,
not?
it's a 3090, right? That's the.
You start doing the maths about it, and it's like for a 20% bonus, you have to pay double.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that didn't work out right
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
So I went with a 3080.
Yeah.
Are you upgrading anything else?
You know what? That card. Okay, they recommend like a 750 watt power supply.
Uh-huh.
Cool. I've got a 600.
Oh
no.
But it runs fine.
That'll explode though at some point.
Yeah.
Will it?
Yeah. You'll hear a bang and smell burning. and
Yeah.
Really?
Like that'll
Yeah.
be it. Yeah.
They
your
give
computer will
out
shut
like that.
down.
They don't just cut off or anything.
Well, I mean, in the
It'll-
past,
it'll-
I've had ones just like boom.
Short.
Yeah.
Okay.
They just blow.
I've never had them blow. I've
Mm.
had multiple computers just start shutting down regularly,
Yeah.
Oh.
and I've had some burning smells and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I played it the last couple of days, and I'm good.
Yeah.
so-
Like it'll be fine for like it might be fine.
Yeah.
The last
Yeah.
time I had a computer explode was like 15 years ago. Like it was,
Burnt plastic. It was all that.
yeah. You hear that bang and then you smell burnt stuff.
The way I'm getting around it, kind of, is
Yeah.
is like I'm loading all my games onto like a M.2 drive rather than like a spinning platter drive.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
suspect there's like less power needed there.
Mm.
Who knows?
yeah. You need
But-
one of those.
But that's my loophole.
You need one of those power gauges on your like thing so you can like figure out
so I
what
can monitor
you
it.
can divert power to
I am
systems.
I
Not
am
the
like,
Enterprise.
I am like pretty conscious about like how much it draws. Like it draws
Yeah.
on the side of the box. It says like 350,
Okay.
and so if the rest of my computer is like 250, I should be all right.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, we'll
assuming-
see. Like we'll see.
Yeah,
Like if it blows, it doesn't hurt the rest of your computer.
Mm.
It just
it just takes out the power supply.
takes out the power
yeah,
supply.
and you'll just need to get a new power supply,
Yeah.
which you would have to do anyway.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, but the other question, I guess, is what's your processor? Because that's going to be a bottleneck.
It's a pretty recent like Ryzen
Okay.
processor. Yeah.
you're fine.
I upgraded it anticipating these cards.
Nice.
So,
Yeah, nice.
yeah, I've got like a decent motherboard and stuff.
Cool.
So it's all good.
exciting.
Red Dead looks fantastic.
Yeah.
I
Oh man, I bet.
I couldn't believe how good that
Beautiful.
game looked.
Just wait until you see Hades.
Yeah. You know what was weird is like I was playing Red Dead with like the 1080 Ti, my previous card,
Mm.
and I thought I could get away with like a lower resolution. You know, I've got a 4K monitor,
Mm.
like a lower resolution and like subtle anti-aliasing to kind of make it
Okay.
look softer.
Yeah.
But blowing it up to like a native resolution on the card, you kind of see the jaggies.
Oh no. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm having to run like I thought I could get away with not using anti-aliasing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, you can. It's so crisp
Yeah.
that you have to put some MSAA on it.
Mm.
That's all right, right? Isn't anti-aliasing just blowing the size of the image up and then shrinking it?
No, it tries to make those jaggies smooth.
What am
Yeah.
I thinking of?
You're thinking of super sampling, where you do render like a larger image and then
Shrink it down?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it might be it.
but you can do that too.
It's,
But you don't want to do
It's a smoothing effect, though, right? That's the whole goal. It's similar in
anti-aliasing.
no super sampling, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they do. And
Similar end result.
yes,
Yeah.
trying to make it. Well, the idea is like when you get more information and average it, it looks nicer.
Yeah, smooths stuff out. All right. Go ahead.
Was there anything you like upgraded this for? Or was this just
I'm
you just wanted
anticipating.
to-
Well, I want to see Control with like RTX and ray tracing.
Oh yeah.
because the game's gorgeous, like without.
Yeah.
But I did want to see like real time ray tracing. Unreal takes advantage of ray
yeah.
tracing. Cyberpunk was the obvious thing,
Mm.
but it's such a freaking dry spell right now.
Mhm.
Like, there's really nothing going on
Yeah, no.
in terms of like AAA games. Assassin's
Mm.
Creed looks like some hot garbage to me.
Oh right, yeah.
Godfall.
Yeah, I actually watched some Assassin's Creed and I wasn't too impressed with how it actually looked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of lukewarm on it too.
Yeah.
They did a huge art dump, and it's interesting because Ubisoft, billion-dollar
Mm.
company,
Yeah,
their flagship franchise,
yeah.
and it looks the way it does.
Mm.
So I'm surprised.
They. I mean, to me, the issue is the rate at which these games are put out.
Oh, I mean, when was
The
Odyssey?
rate and
2 years
scale.
ago?
Something like that, but it's been like
Oh,
an Assassin's Creed every
yeah.
year or two for the last.
Yeah.
They
more
did
than a
skip,
decade.
right? Did they skip last year? Or was that Odyssey?
I don't think Odyssey was last year. I think
Mm.
it was like the year before.
Yeah.
I might be wrong. I don't know.
There are things that carry. Like if you have an engine and you make updates to it,
Mm.
the later games benefit from like the advancements you have on your engine, right?
Sure,
Like
but
those don't have to get started from scratch.
Mm.
No.
for every
but you're also talking like, hundreds of models because this is it's
Those-
just
those
a
games
big
are-
open world game.
Yeah,
right?
those
With lots of
games I
characters.
think have been getting larger and larger. Like,
Yeah, the scope
like
grows.
yeah.
and
I know like asset creation. You're talking about asset creation, but I'm
Yeah.
saying rendering.
Mm.
It can improve and look much better
uh,
without influencing how
Hmm.
asset creation is
Sure.
handled. So I'm surprised that it looks the way it does because,
mm,
like, did rendering not advance?
Yeah, and sometimes these kind of things happen. Do you remember Fallout 4?
I think that's a studio issue. Like the text there.
Yeah.
They're obviously not using it. Yeah, Fallout 4. Jesus.
all right. Well, we're
Yeah.
we're out of time. If you've got questions, you should definitely email us. But keep them short so that I can read them out because it's just how
'em short.
reading works.
Yeah.
FrontSeatQuestions@gmail.com. At FrontSeatCast is our Twitter. You can tweet at us. Facebook.com/FrontSeatCast. You can send us messages. We read them and reply. Facebook. FrontSeatGamer.wordpress.com is our WordPress site. YouTube.com/FrontSeatCast is our YouTube page. You can
Mhm.
subscribe to us on there. And we're on Spotify. We haven't twitched in a long time.
No.
Mm.
Sav's got a new Bants out though.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I do
Oh, yeah?
have a new band.
You got a new Bants?
Listen to Sav's Bants.
The bands. I've got a thing to say about it. Tom offered to like interview me,
Oh.
which is like probably the only interview I'll probably ever do.
Yeah.
It should be pretty fun. But if anyone has questions and knows what I do, and maybe has like questions,
Oh, yeah.
I'd be open to
Email
receiving
FrontSeatQuestions@gmail.com to ask Saveun specifically questions via Tom.
Yeah.
That'll be cool.
Yeah.
So that's gonna happen because Tom's shooting out in December.
Yeah.
So
Sweet.
That'll be really cool. Yeah.
All right. We'll be back in a couple weeks. Bye.
You notice our email is getting spammed?
No.
yeah.
I used to go through and just like unsubscribe to stuff that would get, but it's like, man,
What are we getting spammed with?
it's just random shit. Completely random
It's
shit.
really good stuff.
Yeah.
I like it. I subscribe.
Yeah, I see. You're the one subscribed.
I'm subscribed to
Like,
those things.
I don't want this to go to my actual email.
Blake, are you
account.
signing us up to porn?
But I wanna hear about-
I wish it was. Survey Queen. Oh, we have to deposit $10,000.
Yes.
Nice. Finally.
Yeah.
And that's why I've subscribed to these